What's up, everybody? And today we're taking a look at the Mezco 1/12 Collective Ghostface figure. And of course, first and foremost, we gotta take a look at the packaging. So you got a very nice looking box here. I really love the overall design of the box itself. Got the Ghostface lives right here with a nice spot varnish on it, which is pretty cool in blood. 1/12 up here at the top. Got a very cool looking kind of little film reel thing going on there. I don't know if they've done anything special like this with some of their other boxes, but this is really, really cool. And on the side here, you got the Ghostface aged mask there. On the back, got the figure, picture of the figure, and all the different stuff that he does come with, which is quite a lot, and a lot of useful stuff too. And then, of course, on the side, another picture of the aged mask. Top, kind of the same thing with the spot varnish. Bottom, nothing really too much. But let's go ahead and open this guy up. And here's the figure looking absolutely fantastic. Right off the bat, I'm just going to go out and say I've been messing with this guy for a decent amount of time. This is by far the best Ghostface figure I think I've ever held in my hands and ever messed around with. It beats the NECA, the copious amounts of NECA releases, and it's the definitive Ghostface. And plus, it's at a 6-inch scale, so it's gonna fit with your Marvel Legends. You can pose them around with a bunch of different figures and stuff like that. If you hear a noise in the background, unfortunately, that's my ventilation system being really weird and strange. But hopefully it does not deter from the absolutely amazing figure this is. So first, let's go into the details, and then we will check out all the other amazing stuff that this figure does come with. So as far as the details go, there really isn't much to talk about because he is just in a black robe, but it is a very nice black robe. It's pretty much made of the same material as the actual costumes that you would get at Spirit Halloween, which is really nice. He has this seam running up and down the front of the cloak, which is accurate. Unfortunately, it doesn't open up like those, like the cloaks do in the movie, but that's fine. It's a very nice and big cloak. If I just kind of show here, it's very big, and yeah, which is also pretty accurate. It has a lot of looseness right here, which is also very nice, and I absolutely love the fact that these are actually accurate drapes here. You don't really get that a whole lot. Sometimes they like to do that one long triangle piece, which is just strange. But you do get this here, and these all have bendy wire in them, which is really, really cool. I did not expect them to actually do that, but the fact that they did is fantastic. So you get 3 bendy wires up in those. Again, very, very nice cloak. I love how it's sewn up at the back here. And then the hood, I feel like they could have made the hood a little bit, extra back here, just kind of make it feel like it drapes a bit more. But honestly, I think it's pretty fun. It's just because the mask shows a little bit too much, so when you pull it kind of forward to try and give some shadows, it's kind of like pushes back. Because I think that's probably the best look for it, but then it just it's so, you know what I mean. But one annoying thing is maybe that there's this little bit of fabric here that kind of covers right there. I don't like how that looks, but with enough finagling, I'm sure it will go away and be fine. You do have bendy wire in the hood here too as well, so you can pose the hood any way that you would like, which is also very, very, very nice. I do enjoy that. He has very nice looking boots right here, the classic Ghostface black boots right there. And then I thought they were going to do what NECA usually does, which is pretty much they just have the cloak, the fabric cloak over top of a, just a plastic body and everything. And it's really, if you were to lift the cloak up and everything, it would just be like plastic legs, like an action figure body, like plastic, but lifting this up, it's fabric all the way through. So what you have here is you have fabric pants, which are very nice. And when you even lift this up, they even gave it skin tone socks. So I mean, it's a full-on figure. So you have these very nicely done black pants, which are done up pretty well. They did not skip out on any of the detail whatsoever. It doesn't have a belt or anything, which is fine. I don't really care about that. But you also have this undershirt, which I'm not sure how far it goes. I think it might go all the way. I think, unless it doesn't. It looks like it does go actually like all the way in, which is pretty cool. So you have a complete fabric underbody underneath this fabric cloak, making it actually feel like it's a real person underneath the cloak, which is really, really cool. And I want to try and attempt to take the cloak off. I feel like it'd be interesting to see that, so I might try and do that in this video. Not on camera though, because that would be real pain, and plus this thing was about $100, so I don't want to ruin a $100 figure by messing up, so I'm going to see if I can try and do it off camera. But yeah, it's really nice. I will go over the head sculpt in the head sculpt section, because he does come with quite a few. But other than that, that is pretty much the details on him. Oh, and of course he does come with these gloves too, which do look very nice. Pretty basic gloves, but they do get the job done. But yeah, I mean, overall, that is pretty much it for the details on the figure himself. So I think it's about time we take a look at some other stuff. Ghostface here comes with a whole heap of accessories, so let's get into those accessories. Right off the bat, you do get, of course, the 2 fists. You do get these kind of like gesture, kind of grippy hands. You do get the popcorn hands, which one hand is full of popcorn, and honestly, it is done extremely well. That looks like real popcorn, and they did it pretty well, and it's painted pretty well. Even between the fingers, it's painted pretty good. And then, of course, you get the popcorn bowl holding hand, or you could use it for action poses or whatnot. And, of course, you cannot be Ghostface without having your knife holding or weapon holding hands. Then, as for, you know, I guess, technically masks, but heads, since they're all in heads, you do get the classic Ghostface white mask, which looks absolutely amazing. No paint errors at all whatsoever. Then, of course, you do get the glow-in-the-dark mask, which I will try and kind of show here. I'm kind of shining it on here, but you do get the glow-in-the-dark mask, and basically it's, you know, the in-universe stab movie kind of mask. At least that's what it reminds me of. Now, I will try and see if I can get it to glow here. Hopefully it will. So I get that. And then kind of cover it up a little bit. You can kind of see it glowing. I don't have the best lighting, but you can kind of see it glowing just a little bit. Wish I had better lighting. But yeah, you do get that mask, which is a very nice looking mask. Then on top of that, you do get the aged mask, which is a very nicely done mask, although maybe some of the paintwork for the aging is a little bit off. But oh no, it's a really nice mask. Of course, you get this mask because in recent times, this is has become a pretty popular mask, and it is done pretty well. Now, I saved this other mask for last, just to also show how it connects in there. So you have this double ball peg, and you have this turtleneck piece. Now you gotta make sure that it goes inside the turtleneck there. Then we will take the head. It looks pretty much like this. And just make sure it gets all around the fabric there. And then when you put it in, you want to make sure that you hear a pop, because then when you hear a pop, it should be all in. And just kind of go in with your finger and just make sure that the fabric is all out of the way. It's probably going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass, I'm not going to lie. It's not the easiest to do, but once it's all situated around the neck, it looks fine. And of course, that leads us to the last and final mask that he does come with, and that is the bloodied mask. And this mask looks so good. They did this thing so good. Maybe a little overdone with the blood, maybe a little too much blood, maybe just a little bit would have been fine, but I mean, it's really good for just a super nice bloody massacre, and I absolutely love this mask. They even did little like speckles of blood on every part, even the black sections. This thing looks absolutely perfect, and I like how they didn't do any on the eyes, since the eyes are supposed to be mesh, so they were paying attention to detail. It is a beautiful looking mask, and I will absolutely be doing some pretty cool poses with this bloody mask. Now, I did actually manage to get the cloak off, and this is pretty much what you're left with underneath. It's pretty much this spandex kind of top shirt on with these pants here, and these pockets are actually like pockets, so you can like kind of just for to show off here, you can actually put like his hands like in his pockets, which is pretty cool. So if you wanted to do kind of a pocket look, you can definitely pull it off with enough finagling. But yeah, this is pretty much what is underneath the cloak itself, and kind of reminds me of a very specific character that would honestly not be a bad attempt at making a custom with this particular figure. If you know what I'm talking about, it'll probably show up on the screen. As for other stuff that come with this Ghostface figure, of course you do get the bowl of popcorn here, which is done pretty well. They did a very nice job making this a believable bowl of popcorn, even down to the white trim of the ceramic bowl, I'm assuming. They did a really good job with this. It's an interesting accessory, and it's definitely an accessory that you can use with a bunch of other figures too as well. And as for a strange accessory, you get a TV remote, which again you can also use with other figures too as well. And it's painted up pretty well. It definitely reminds me of TV remotes from when I was a child, and things like that, with all the different colored buttons and everything. It's done super well. It's super tiny, but done extremely well, and they did a really good job on it. The only thing I probably could have wondered why is they didn't like sculpt the battery pack of the remote in, but other than that, it's a very nicely done accessory, and an interesting one at that. Now, as for two accessories I don't think anyone was surprised about, you do get a butcher knife, which is done, again, very well. You could probably use this with other characters too. It's done in this nice silver. And then, of course, you get the classic, oh so classic, Buck 120 hunting knife. And it is done up extremely well. Painted super nice, super well done. And overall, it is just a nice looking weapon. And it is, you know, colored with a matte finish. And then, of course, bringing in the figure here, it does fit in his hands very well. And I like how his hands, too, are kind of like rubbery. So that way you can just kind of fit the blade on it. Oh, well, that popped his hand off. But anyway, you can fit the blade right on in with ease. So you don't have to worry about, you know, breaking your weapons just to get it in the hands. It just goes right on in. And there you go. Yeah, Ghostface with the blade and everything, and it looks so... this thing is just amazing. And if you thought that was the end of the accessories, it's not. It does come with another weapon, that being the scythe, that for some reason a lot of Ghostfaces nowadays come with. I don't know why they come with this scythe at all. He never used a scythe. You know, Ghostface never used a scythe in any of the movies at all whatsoever. So I think the only reason they may add this is because of the whole fact that the costume, a little bit of lore, that the actual, you know, Ghostface suit, robe back in the day was called the Father Death costume by Fun World back in the day, I believe it was. And so I'm guessing that's why they have this added, to kind of play on that. But other than that, I have no idea, because a lot of Ghostface figures come with a scythe for some reason. Now, one of the big reasons why I got this and wanted to get this is because he comes with all these blood effects, which is just super cool. Now, you do have this one blood effect here, which has the knife in it, so you have like a stab effect. This is something never before seen with any Ghostface figure, and I'm here for it, because this thing is absolutely amazing. This is really great for poses. If you want to like pose him stabbing somebody or whatnot, this is a fantastic piece. And there's like little bits of like blood on the blade too that they painted. They didn't have to do that, but they did paint blood on the blade, which is super cool. Not huge on the color that they went for the translucent, you know, kind of blood effect. Maybe a slightly darker red would have been cool. But it is still a very nice looking piece. And then of course you got the other remaining pieces, which these actually you can use. So I believe if you like take some of the weapons here, actually I'm pretty sure this one is for the scythe. Pretty sure this one's for the scythe. So let me get that scythe. So you just kind of put it through, I believe, here. I believe it goes this way. Not exactly sure how this one works. I think it goes like that. Or, I don't know. But you can, like, put it on the, not sure how this piece works, but I'm pretty sure you can just, like, put it on here, and you have a blood effect right there. And then, of course, you do get these kind of slashing one. And, of course, you can have the blade just right on in like that as, like, a slashing effect, which is very cool. So you can have that on the edge of a blade like so to create a slashing effect. And then it works for both of the blades. So we'll have this one here. So you can do with both of those. And then this one I'm pretty sure is a stabbing one, I believe. Or it might be another slash one. Looks like it's a slash one. So yeah, you can have this one kind of like slashing down or something like that. And then we'll use the other knife too. But, oops, this one doesn't seem to want to fit. This one might actually be for the scythe, but you can have that slash in. And then we'll bring in the scythe here, because maybe this one is for the scythe, actually. Yeah, it looks like this one's for the scythe, but yeah. So you have that effect right there. So that makes me wonder, how does this one work then? Because I was using it, and it wasn't working. Or at least I wasn't doing it right? I have no idea. I just know that this stuff is just super nice and super cool to actually have something. So, I don't know. Maybe it goes like that. I'm not 100% sure. But it's nice to have these. That's the bottom line, pretty much. Very cool pieces. Then, as far as the last and final accessories, you do get this plastic baggie to keep all of your accessories in. And then you do, of course, get a stand, which has a point right here. If it wants to move, you got a point right there, a point right there, a point right there. This will spin, and you do got a clamp right here. So, lots of options. And then, of course, you got the base, too, as well. You can see me right there. Hi. But it is a very nice glossy base with the kind of varnished Ghostface Lives logo right there. With a very, very nicely done. And it is in that very high gloss. Already catching fingerprints already, which is fantastic. Then you got the little connection thing here at the bottom. Very nice looking base. But yeah, that is pretty much all that it comes with. Which is honestly quite a lot. So, regardless of all the accessories, how well is the figure itself? And how well does it articulate? So, let's talk about that articulation. Right off the bat, getting into the articulation, Mezco is pretty decent on their articulation considering all the cloth goods. They're basically like mini Hot Toys. And these are, of course, adult figures. Now, one thing I will say, when you do get this figure, make sure you read through the instructions that you do get in the book here. Just make sure that you do take a look, because these definitely are not toys. They're not meant for children, even though they technically are kind of like toys. So just make sure that you take a look at the instructions, and I guess that's how the blood effects work. So that was for the scythe somehow. But just make sure that you take a look at the instructions, even though these instructions don't really do too much, which basically means that's a good thing, because the Batman figure that I got from Mezco had too many instructions, and I should have seen that as a warning sign that maybe I should not have owned that figure. Because unfortunately, you guys probably, if you have seen that Mezco Batman video, that figure broke on me. It was not the greatest, but seems like we'll be safe for this one. So let's get to it. As far as the head goes, I will remove the hood. You can look down about that far, up about that far. It does have some side to side. It is on a double ball peg. Of course, he probably can rotate all the way around. Just gotta get around all the fabric, and it should be fine. As for the arms, no butterfly joints, but the arm can go, I'd say, up about that far before you feel some resistance, forward about that far. Actually, oh, you can pretty much go a full 360 as long as you just move the robe around. So he's pretty fine in that area, actually, which is really good. Is there a bicep? No, there's no bicep swivel. He does have double jointed elbows that go in pretty deep. Does have the usual hinge and swivel that a lot of these types of figures have, which is very nice. Then as far as the torso goes, does have a diaphragm up here, so you can get a pretty good range of motion, like a lot. And I think he has like some slight waist swivel. Crunching forward, he goes about that far. Crunching back, goes a pretty decent amount. Then we will lift up the kind of cloak here and pull it over him. I want to make sure that that arm is actually fine. Okay, so it looks like I kind of moved a lot of the fabric around. I will try and get that fixed here shortly. But as far as the legs go, he can kick forward pretty far. Not too bad. It's about, a normal human's kick. There is some slight swivel. He can split about that far. And then, of course, double jointed knees go pretty much all the way. He can kick his own butt. And then right at the ankle here, his foot can go up about that far, down about that far. There's some swivel and some slight tilt. So he is pretty articulated for a Ghostface figure, more articulated than the NECA figures, which is honestly what I really wanted. So I can get this guy in some pretty nice stabbing poses and action poses, and it seems like he will fare pretty well. So with posing and stuff out of the way, let's do a quick pose test, and then we will talk about how he fares with other figures. Guys enjoyed that little pose test. If you're wondering why I did not use the dynamic flight stand for him, that's because Ghostface's character doesn't really do a whole lot of dynamic posing. It's more so just, being a slasher and whatnot, so I didn't use the dynamic stand because, even though you can use it and you can get him in those poses quite easily in a pretty good way, he's just not that kind of character, so I wasn't going to really do that, but this guy can pose pretty good. So, starting off with, of course, how does he match up to a regular Marvel Legends? So here he is next to my Marvel Legends animated series, Spider-Man, and he fits in pretty well. Pretty much damn near perfect at that 6-inch scale, and he works really perfect. And then, it's just seeing how he looks next to a Figure Arts. Here he is next to the Figure Arts Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So you can see how he looks next to a Figure Arts figure. And then, of course, here he is next to another Marvel Legends. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends Deadpool.
You know, no matter how many times you truly to stab me, I won't die, right? I assume you've done your research.
I don't care how many times I stab you, you'll die screaming one way or another. Everyone bleeds.
Is that the best you got, Ghosty? Looks like your killer instincts and your jokes need some work. Nice try with the whole slasher film thing, though. For effort and all that.
And then as for a final comparison, of course we gotta compare him with a NECA Ghostface figure. So here he is next to the NECA Ghostface, the recent one being the Ghostface Inferno Ghostface figure. And as you can see, a whole lot of differences. And there's some things I like between these two that are, different with each figure. I think the Mezco one is definitely a more perfect overall looking Ghostface. I do like how the NECA one does have the opening front with the robes. But I don't like 7 inches. I really don't. It's just weird for figures. So Mezco definitely wins in a lot of those areas as far as being the best Ghostface figure. Mezco wins all around the board as far as being the best Ghostface figure, both in posability, quality, likeness, and for the most part, accessories. Even though I really do like the fact that this Ghostface has like these like chrome knives, which is pretty cool. And of course that, which I will, I just hit my light, which of course is something that I will talk about pretty quickly. But that is how they look next to each other. Overall, this Ghostface figure is pretty much the best Ghostface figure on the market at the moment. Mezco really killed it with this figure. But I will talk more about that with the final thoughts, which is coming up right now. So let's move on to the final thoughts. So as for the final thoughts on this Mezco 1/12 Ghostface, it's absolutely perfect. It's probably the best Ghostface figure that has been released thus far. Beats all the NECA variants. And of course, when you take off the cloak, he has a complete fabric, body underneath, which is also fantastic. I thought they were going to cheap out and just go with plastic like how NECA does, but they didn't. It's a full-on, amazing-looking Ghostface figure. Not really much I would actually change about it. I know I had a little bit of gripes about the hood, but honestly, with messing around with it a lot and just kind of looking at it, it's honestly perfect, and I would not change it one bit. Now, the one thing I would probably change is the fact that which is honestly really strange, is he doesn't come with a voice changer or a telephone. I feel like those are two, accessories that are kind of a need, and we're kind of missed out on this release, which kind of sucks, and which is really just strange that he doesn't have those things. But other than that, I absolutely love this figure. I think the material they use is perfect. I honestly was surprised that they put bendy wire in the drapes on the sleeves. That was a really nice touch, and it adds for some extra, posing, and just makes it look really, really nice. I love his accessories. I absolutely love the blood effects. The blood effects are just so good with this thing. Like they just make this figure just that much more crazy. I love the blood mask. The bloodied mask just looks so good. I think they have a very nice array of masks. I don't think I would even change that at all. You can do so many poses with this guy, and all of his other accessories can also be used with other figures too as well. Overall, it's just really amazing. He articulates well, looks good. It's the perfect Ghostface figure. But anyway, that's it for this review. Make sure to follow my socials, the Insta and the TikTok for more action figure related posts, and I will see you in the next.